Hello, this is karamei, intrigue, whatever you know me as, and I have been playing Overwatch since early 2018. I have the most hours on Mercy by far, but I am very flexible when it comes to the support role. I decided that I would start watching replays of enemy Mercies. I figured, hey, why not share my thoughts? And yeah, so I'm making a series of this, and hopefully it is informative and interesting. It is reviews of any Mercy in the game, so usually the enemy Mercy. Also, sometimes I include myself when I want to show something in particular, or the Mercy swaps off and I feel like it's worth watching me. Sometimes the Mercy is also my teammate, so it helps compare different Mercies. On rare occasion, I do have reviews of other supports, but they are played by Mercy players who have made it very clear that they're cranky about not playing Mercy, and so I assess what they do and not necessarily an expert analysis of those heroes in particular, but things they do which indicate that they may have these possible similar issues when playing their main hero. So far, most of these recordings are gold lobbies, which contain some silver and plat. I try to note this in every video that I post, and I'll say right here, the things that I've primarily noticed after watching several of these in these lobbies is way too much healing beam, and sometimes there's like virtually no damage boost. And a lot of the healing priority seems to be on tanks, which should be your last priority for healing. Just your go-healer. Like, if your go-healer's off-healer, like Zen or Lucio, yeah, you're gonna have to heal more. But if you have Moira on a BAP, they should be able to cover the tanks. If tanks are critical, then yes, go heal them. There's not much damage boost, and there's definitely not a lot of damage boosting of things like Visor, Coalescence. This goes along with the whole target priority thing. Poor positioning, like standing on the objective, flying across the objective multiple times for no reason, hopping around the objective, like the middle of the road, or just anywhere in clear line of sight, not next to cover. You should always at least be next to a wall, and just learn to improve from there. Bad reses happen a lot. Just going for a res in front of the enemy team or in a team fight where you're clearly not going to get away with it. And as you climb, you're going to get away with fewer and fewer reses such as this. And at this point, they're already being punished for them. Some questionable Valks that don't accomplish much, or they spend the whole time heal beaming. Even during a Transcendence, they'll just heal beam. Sometimes just wasting their whole Valk trying to pistol somebody who never dies. Not even close. Movement issues, just like the GAing across, not slinging GA when it would be most beneficial to do so, GAing way up to the target instead of like cutting it short so they're in a better safe position instead of right in the front lines, which is something I've noticed, is Mercy's trying to front line, sometimes going in front of their tanks, or just with one tank. When I say movement issues, I don't necessarily mean lack of super jump. In most of these VODs, the Mercies do not super jump, and at this elo, that's perfectly fine. It would benefit them in a lot of cases that I'm watching, but they manage. It's not a maker or a breaker, but it is definitely worth learning, and I mentioned several times during these that I highly recommend Mercy Parkour. It helps a lot. And another thing is awareness of sound cues is absolutely something I've noticed. Just footsteps, things like Dynamite, stuff like that. These reviews are not meant to be toxic at all. They're meant to be educational and interesting, I guess, because I would watch these replays anyway, so I almost always am not trying to be toxic. There are some situations where I have reason to be toxic, and that involves things like throwers, harassers, people who are very clearly being boosted. And I mean very clearly, not just like, oh, you're boosted, haha. No. I think I have 2 people I've watched that were in that category. And I know I have a decent VOD of one of them. And my intention, though, is the education and learning things to improve in myself, see what I do better or worse, learn from mistakes without my personal bias or blindness because I made the plays. If I watch somebody else and I'm like, okay, here's this and this and that, I can say, hey, I need to work on improving those things too, because it's like solid in my mind. Even if I'm like watching my own play and I'm thinking, yeah, this position was fine, or I don't notice if I'm healing too much because I'm the one who did it. If I see that in a different mercy, then it's going to be more telling. So it is for education, and it's not intended for the mercies and the replays to see, but if they do, that's perfectly fine by me. Like I said, it's not meant to be toxic, and I hope it would be helpful. It is obviously a free service. I have not asked them if I could review these. I mean, if someone wants me to VOD review, I would do it in a much more serious manner. All of these replay reviews are done off the cuff, and I have usually not watched any of the replay before going into the review. And then I also edit in captions of things that I forget to say, or things like that, just a commentary, because I lose my thought a lot. This is pretty much all in good intention for our community to improve. And also, I am really sorry that the first several games have trash FPS. I legitimately adjusted my OBS prior to doing these in a setting that I thought would be fine, but then I looked at some of the replays later on and was like, oh no. But I still felt like most of these, or many of those, were worth publishing nonetheless. There are moments where it absolutely looks like a slideshow and I hate it, so I am really sorry about that. But anyway, that's all I'm gonna say. And remember, don't give up on the concept of self-improvement. Once you stop believing in self-improvement, you give up improving at all. No one else can make you improve. But yeah, like I said, if anyone ever wanted me to do a serious VOD review, I would put a lot more effort into it instead of something kind of off the cuff. It would be definitely more serious, and I'm open to doing that. I have not done one of those yet, but hey, if you enjoy these replays or just any of them and want a VOD review, you could hit me up. Depending on how much effort involved, it might be something commissioned, but like I said, I have no experience with it, so yeah, that's going to be all. Thank you for watching, and look forward to more. See ya.